Well. You know that way that people normally start off live streams. Just you can't see them and they're like, well. How about this? Sorry, I gotta. What am I doing? There we go. Hi everybody, welcome back to another TIMBP Live. Hope everybody is doing well. It's Thursday night, my favorite nights of the week. Mostly because I get to hang out with you wonderful, incredible people. And I'm just so thrilled to have you all around. Some early risers in the group. Steve A. said early times bottle and bond. Sounds like a good starter for my night. I actually started with, where's that bottle? I don't know what I did with it. But I started with Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, which I have not had in a hot minute. This bottle's just kind of been sitting there looking at me, and I figured, why not have a little bit? Thanks for being here, Steve. David Levine, get ready, Perry. I'm going to surprise you when you least expect it. Oh, terrific. Hope you're enjoying your Kentucky trip, though, my friend. Donnie says, howdy. Ethan Sterner, good to see you, my friend. Evening all, sipping some Rebel Distillers. That sounds lovely. Don says David's in the chat while he's standing outside. Is there a ringing? That might help it a little bit. Sorry. David Levine's in the chat while standing outside Perry's garage door. Wouldn't that be the surprise to end all surprises? But I'm very happy David's in the chat, and thank you for being here too, Donnie. Cheers all. 1 week till Vegas, 2 weeks till Kentucky. Lil, I cannot believe that you are going to be here in 2 weeks. My brain hasn't even really kind of like wrapped itself around the notion that you guys are going to be here. Marty from Whiskey Nose, what's going on, buddy? Steve A, well, you had it as the thumbnail. I don't know why that was the thumbnail that showed up on YouTube, but it's not what I don't know why that is what came up. But it's hello, Matt Sims. Cheers, everyone. Evening to you too, my friend. I've had just a very lovely day. Just like not overly stressful. Got some stuff done. Not even like big stuff. It was one of those days where like I just needed to get some little stuff done. And I think those are the more satisfying days, honestly, that people can have. Because when you have those yeah, Steve, I don't really know either. But like as great as having those days where you get all of your big stuff done are, having days where it's just little things where you're like, I just need to get around today. It's not going to take me too long, but just a few hours where I can just knock some stuff out that has been that just needed to be taken care of. And I'm just so happy that I was able to. But Tony Bag of Donuts is here. Hi, Perry. My weekend bet is over. 3 more weeks until I can put my contacts back in. Just picked up 2 new Wilderness Trails and the It's Bourbon Night 1792 pick. That It's Bourbon Night 1792 pick is one of the best picks of 17, if not the best pick of 1792 I've ever had. Truthfully, it's amazing. And I wish that I had a full bottle of it. Getting to taste it with Chad on Sunday, which, by the way, if you did not watch it, go back and check out the It's Bourbon Night stream from this past Sunday. I was the guest co-host. Sarah was out of commission, so I stepped up to the plate for the first time in a couple of years, which was just was so nice to come back to that space and everything. But Chad did let me try their 1792 pick, and I was blown away by it. Absolutely blown away by it. David says, it started off well when I couldn't meet you. That should have been a sign. So David and I had plans this morning to get breakfast. David's in Kentucky for, I guess you're going to be leaving in the next couple of days. But we had planned to meet up for breakfast today and just wound up not working out at all. And I really, like, you say that, David, but like it kind of started me off on a bum note. Like I was pretty bummed about the fact that we didn't get to hang out this morning or at all for you this trip. So it's such is life, unfortunately, but we'll make something happen. In the near future, for sure. Teresa Martinez, hello, Teresa. Cheers to bourbon and spaghetti. Is that what it is? That's pretty fantastic. I'm down for spaghetti. Daniel Kerber, hello, Daniel. Dan, I hope you're well, buddy. Cheers, everyone. Cheers to you too. I'm gonna finish up this Elijah Craig toasted barrel. I'm going to tell you about the best ways to support the channel, support the show, not just the YouTube channel, but this is my Bourbon podcast as well. Big ways you can do that, of course, subscribing to the show, whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's on the podcast app that you have chosen to listen to the podcast on. I'm going to start pumping these the audio versions of this podcast, or excuse me, of the live streams back onto the main podcast feed on a weekly basis as well. I got out of the habit of that. Things were just crazy and busy, and life just got in the way. So that's just how it goes. But you can go check that out. All the podcast apps, basically across the spectrum, unless there's a new one I don't know about, in which case it's probably for the best. I'm going to get into that. My brain went in a weird direction thinking about that. But subscribe, hit the bell notification, like the video, comment, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. Leave us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. It's on iTunes. We normally see it, or your Apple podcast app. We normally see it. But if it's not on that, send me a screenshot at my Bourbon Pod on social media. Read it out on episodes. And for these shows, you can support what we do through the method of super chatting that we have set up, which is called Snuffy Chats. It's in support of Mr. old Mr. Snuffleupagus back here. Whoop, pointing the thumb the other way. There he is. I'm going to work on some new little emotes and notifications for when we get super chats or Snuffy Chats, so that pops up on the screen and we all have a good time together. But anything else? Do I have anything else to say? Oh, the links for all that is in the description below. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, it's the pinned comment at the top of the chat. So check that out, and you'll get to see your message here if it's through Stream Elements, right up here on screen. Excuse me. And we'll give you a little shout out. David says, "Sorry, next time I'll schedule some Perry time in the calendar." It's all good, man. Cheers, Perry. Cheers to you, Scott. Good to see you guys. Go give Scott from Fifth Quarter Tailgate a follow, a subscribe if you have not done so yet. Chili spaghetti. Stuff happens when you party naked. Yes, that is true. All right. So my plan, I've got at least three reviews that I'm going to get into tonight. That's fantastic. Sorry, I'm in a big scheduling guests for the podcast moment right now. Just emails after emails and messages after messages. And we're going to have, if you've missed out on the podcast recently, over the next couple of months, this is going to be your time to get back into it and to really see what makes TIMBP so special. And it's not just It's not just the bourbon, of course. It's the people that, and this is such a tired notion, and I know that people are tired of hearing it too, but it really is about the people that you surround yourself with. And we're gonna have a really good time with it over the next few. Not that we haven't been, but I was just kind of at a point where I was like, we need to have more guests on. We need to have more people on, and just do fun stuff. Do a lot of fun stuff. But some like, if things work out the way that I am hoping they will, and it looks like things are trending in the right direction, I mean, some of the biggest name guests that we'll have ever had on the show before. And I'm just so excited for it. But anyway. Ryan VH, what's going on, Ryan? Hope you're well. Good to see you in the chat. Steven Sussman. Hello, Steven. I can't wait to hang out with you a little bit later as well. Going to be chatting on... oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I'm going to be on Clifton's stream tonight over at Bourbon Bites. We're going to be tasting through these samples that Steven sent us. Steven's also excited for the next guest coming up. Amazing. I have a podcast. I do have a podcast. Do I talk about it enough? I don't know if I do. 4-Leaf Whiskey. Hello, 4-Leaf Whiskey. Cheers to you, too. Good to have you in the chat. Lil says we can do a guest appearance in 2 weeks. Friggin' absolutely. Absolutely, you can. It's been since 2018, I guess, that we've had you guys on the show. So, big old Aussie update. Speaking of the devil, indeed. Hello, Clifton. Good to have you in, buddy. Will Hendo Henderson. What's up, everybody? What's up with you, Hendo? Very glad to see you, my friend. Let's go ahead and start moving on to these reviews, because I figured that this was a great way to close out. And I mean, I know we still got a few days, but this is the last stream for Big Ass August. Next week, it's going to be September, Bourbon Heritage Month. So on September 1st, we're going to be officially kicking off Bourbon Heritage Month with a stream. I'm very excited for that. So I'll have to plan something special. I don't think I'm going to do any sample giveaways tonight, just because I haven't even gotten bills out from last week. I'm so far behind on more than just that too. So we'll take a break from that this week, but do still please support the channel through Snuffy Chats and all that good stuff. Venmo, PayPal. I don't know. Send me $5 in the mail. Who is that? A podcast joke? I think it is. I know I haven't gotten your samples out from 2021. I'm like, see, that's the thing, is that I know that I'm so behind that if I do it too much, I'm just going to create an issue for myself. So I just need to, I gotta wait. Yes, also become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. And Teresa actually is our most recent Patreon member. Teresa, we'll thank you on next week's episode. But while I got you here, I'm going to say thank you so much for supporting the show on Patreon. I do believe that Teresa is at the $5 tier, which means that she gets all of the bonus content that we do over on Patreon. You know what I'm tired of doing? I'm tired of peddling my wares, and I don't want this to turn into a I don't want this to just be a sponsorship commercial. And I know I've been drinking on bourbon or whiskey, but it's time to move on to something we can actually talk about. And we are going to start, maybe to my chagrin. I don't know yet. I truly don't know yet. I've had this once. It's been a little while. I remember liking it pretty well when I first had it, but it's not the kind of whiskey that Dixon Deadman would have made. And I know that we have to at some point just stop saying, well, it's not Dixon stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not Dixon stuff. So for better or worse, this is what we have now. And we can talk all day about, the good old days, but these are the cards we've been dealt, man. So, thanks for throwing the Patreon link up there, Steve. Perry's podcast telethon. I should, Ryan says I need to do a PBS pledge style. Absolutely. I mean, like all of August was kind of us trying to get new people over on the Patreon. But I've got a thing I got to edit for that too. But I would love to do just an actual, just a full on PBS telethon one day. I think that would be hysterical. But anyway, so Wiseman Rye, 100.8 proof. I know the Wiseman Bourbon is around here somewhere. Welcome back to Perry Gets Distracted, the live stream. But hey, that's how it goes just about every week. But anyway, we did not like the Wiseman Bourbon when it came out. Didn't have a whole lot of good things to say about it, unfortunately, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. Isn't this series supposed to be for cocktails? Huh? Is anyone else hearing porn on piano music? Yeah, I mean, I've got my typical lo-fi music playing in the background. Such a good song. Okay, so I'm confused about the cocktail thing, but that's also just how it goes. So anyway, that's a rye. That is definitely a rye whiskey. I think what's interesting about the label too is it says American Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. Like one of those things is just redundant. The Department of Redundancy Department. Indulge in the wisdom and knowledge of fine whiskey since 1879. Crafted. The artisanal traditions and heritage of Charles M. Deadman and the Kentucky Owl brand have been preserved to ensure that the outstanding quality and spirit of the brand continue withstanding the test of time. Crafted by modern world distilling knowledge. Oh, you mean the bottles? Like the bottles were supposed to be for bartenders to make into cocktails. I did not know that. I did not realize that was the case. Excuse me. I mean, maybe I'll just have to try. All right, I got to turn the music down a little bit. I feel like I'm competing with it. But the thing is, I mean, I'll just have to try it. I truly didn't know that was the case. So that was on me. But I'll have to try these in cocktails sometime. Yeah, it's not a terrible rye whiskey nose, but I don't know. There's not anything special about it necessarily. The music's getting annoying. Donnie, how do you really feel? I mean, I'm not going to turn it off, but I will turn it down a little bit. Wow. Yeah, it is just kind of straight off right off the bat, to steal a phrase from Chad, a rye. But there's a little bit of like brown sugar going in there, baking spices as well. I mean, I like the nose quite a bit, but just nothing like special kind of popping out there, I would say. Weird. Like, I know that I'm tasting everything. I'm tasting what is supposed to be the final product, right? But there's something about this that just feels, I don't know, it feels kind of incomplete. Like, it doesn't feel like it's living up to its full potential. But it's just not it's just not hitting like everything that I wish it would. Is there a Kentucky Owl that's worth the price? I mean, it is so tough to say, you know, it's worth, any whiskey is worth $300, but I mean, at the same time, I don't know. I mean, Dixon made really great whiskey. He did. He made really, really good stuff while he was still with the company. But he you know, he just couldn't do it. He had to leave for personal reasons. And the stuff that they're putting out now that's at that $300 price tag is just not that good, unfortunately. But you know what, too? See, I don't think it's that expensive, though. Well, it's definitely... Oh, that's just the regular rye. Oh, it is $60 a bottle. Okay. Well, it is what it is. Something being a cocktail whiskey isn't an excuse for making it boring. I agree with that 100%. I think that is just so on the head, Clifton, because I am a spirit-forward cocktail drinker. I want to drink a bourbon cocktail and be able to taste the bourbon as it is working with everything else that's going on in the glass. And if it's boring, I think that at times can be less forgivable than it being bad. Because you're losing the character of the spirit that is going into making the actual drink. And if it's just there and it's just kind of hanging out, but you're getting a lot of sugar and a lot of bitters, you're getting a lot of, you know, whatever's going on in the cocktail. But the bourbon is not, the whiskey is not, you know, showing through the way that it should. I think that's a bigger sin as far as like cocktail making goes with whiskey. So I don't disagree with you, Clifton, is what I'm saying. Mike Meyer, cheers all. Cheers to you, Mike. Good to see you in the chat. I need to find it in a bar and taste it. Yeah, I mean, it's worth trying. It's absolutely worth trying. If it's boring, why would you use it in a cocktail? If I want boring, I'll just mix with vodka. There you go. Also, Andrew West. Hello, Andrew. The first couple of ryes were great, and the price wasn't jacked up. Yeah, those early releases. I mean, like the bourbon wasn't always $300 either. The bourbon was like $150 or something when it first came out, $100. So, I mean, at that point, for the quality of what you were getting in there, and it's not to say that Dixon wasn't putting really quality whiskey into those bottles. It was just like it did become a bit of a strain on the budget because you just couldn't justify dropping $300, you know, and that's not Dixon's fault. That's truly not his fault. So I haven't tried it, but I imagine there's a lot more you could get for $60 in other brands. I would much rather buy Rittenhouse Rye, Pikesville Rye, to name two. Hi, Swan. It is. Did I? Yeah, so it is 95.5. So definitely a high rye. And there's not a whole lot of those on the market at this price. I think that we're kind of getting to the point where that's going to become more common. But, you know, I would say that your more common rye whiskey drinkers are not going to be the ones that would fall into the 95.5 range. Swan was here, but on the wrong account, and he said, "Oh my God, someone stole my name." Stoley wanted to make lots of money. Yes, Stoley wanted to make a lot of money, and that's why we saw such a huge price increase with Kentucky Owl products. Brian Egan, cheers, everyone. Cheers to you too, Brian. You can ban the imposter. Papa Ritter with the John Mayer. I gotta find the. This heartbreak warfare, red wine and in the end, you're talking shit again. It's heartbreak warfare. Yeah, great song. Good thing I just happen to have a guitar by me. I love Ryan. MGP 95.5 is basically canon for me. Hey, there's nothing wrong. David, I'm not going to read that comment out loud. I mean, no, I think 95.5 Rye is incredible. But I think that, I don't know, maybe my what I said was not what I don't think I meant to say what I said. Also, Ethan, I don't know how to pronounce that. Monongahela? Actually, maybe I do. I've heard that name before, but save some ladies for the rest of us. Hey, that's how it goes. Pop Ritter wants to know, how is everyone tonight? How is everyone? What is everybody drinking? I'm not monetized, so I have nothing to lose. And I got it spot on the first try. So yeah, I definitely have heard. I've heard that name before, at the very least. I don't know if I've seen it spelled out though. So that was, hey, it's good to hit a home run on the first pitch. I'll just say that. But going in blind and being like, oh, Monongahela. See, I even messed it up when I was trying to say it there. But there you go. All right, let's talk about reviewing this particular bottle. I'm going to use, because there are 3 of these, and I do think that they deserve their appropriate reviewing that we do on the podcast. There we go. I'm not drinking right now, but soon. Brian says 4 Roses single barrel. That sounds fantastic. Will says I'm not drinking Hidden Barn, so I'm good. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Let's not talk too much about Hidden Barn. Cheers, everyone, from the Deathless Dogs. Dan, it's good to see you, man. Hope you're well. Try to stop in on your stream a little bit later, too. Monongahela sounds like a certain kind of disease. Amen to that. Jake Miller, what's going on, Jake? I may have a pour. I haven't had a drink in 3 months, and I don't miss it. I'm interested in how my palate changed. Let us know. No pressure, of course, too, if you don't want to drink. I mean, that's crazy for us to be like, hey, if you're going to be watching TIMBP, you're going to be having a drink. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. So only if you feel like it. Teresa's drinking Cooper's Craft. I have not had Cooper's Craft in a hot minute. Scott's drinking grape sparkling water. Nice. Matt Sims drinking a Hotel Tango single barrel. Not usually a fan of their stuff, but this is pretty good. I'm a fan. I like Hotel Tango. I really liked that 2-year product that they came out with a couple years ago. Surprisingly so. But it had a lot of flavor for being 2 years old. Tony just made a super blend of 4 new riffs. There we go. All right. Hello, Julie. Hope you're well, my friend. I will try to stop in for your all stream as well here in just a bit. But hope you guys are having a great day. It's good seeing you in the chat. Send my love to Dan as well. But so Hydro Homies indeed. Man, I had just been crushing some water recently. I'm in that weird little I think a lot, not everybody, but I go through this. Oh, thank you, Julie. But I go through this phase where water is just the best friggin' tasting thing in the entire world. That's not a revolutionary thing to say, but it's just water just hits that daggone spot, and it's just incredible. So I've just had a lot of good water recently. All right, so on the podcast, we have a review system of nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5, and we total it up for a final score out of 20. If you multiply by 5, you can kind of get an idea of what it would score out of 100. But if you just want to stick with the 20, that's fine too. Kentucky water versus New York water. Dawn, no comment. No comment. But anyway, so Wiseman Rye. Nose. Like a 2? I mean, it's like I said, it's there. It's definitely a rye whiskey. But it's just not. It's not got a lot going on for it. Yeah, 2. I said this earlier, but the palate really does kind of feel incomplete. It misses so much of what it could be on the very front end of the palate. Is this the rye that won double gold in the poop category? It is indeed. Great joke from the podcast. Little bit of like baking spices. It's got some kind of snickerdoodle thing going on too, which I'm really digging. But overall, it just kind of falls flat, and it's just not where I would like for it to be. Hello again, whiskey friends. Hello to you, Jeff Wack. Good to see you, buddy. Sorry, I said that, and my brain just went. It just completely shut off for a second, and I didn't have a thought. I didn't have like just anything to jump onto the next sentence with. It was just like, nah, you're not going to talk now. Total shut off. Brian Egan with the $5 Snuffy chat. Love the podcast, Perry. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you, man. If, like Brian, you would like to donate to the show, the links are all in the description. Top of the YouTube chat as well, pinned up there. It should be at least. But Brian, thank you so much, man. I'm glad I have this effect on people. Hey, I'm not going to deny it, Jeff. You're a handsome guy. What am I going to say about that? Like, hey. Palate, I think I like a little bit better than the nose, though. 2.5. Finish is so quick. There's just so little to. It's not even that it's bad. It's there. It's a continuation of those spicy notes that I'm getting from the palate, but it's just like, it's just gone so quickly. It's like a 1.5, man. I just don't want it to suck. That's not a nice thing to say. That's not even really what I mean. I don't want it to be so flat. I want more from this whiskey. I want it to pop more. So currently I'm sitting at a 6, and with the price being $60 and there being so many other better rye whiskeys out there, especially with 95.5 as the mash bill, price has got to be a 2, unfortunately. So final score 8 out of 20 for the Kentucky Owl Wiseman Rye. Yeah, I'm bummed about that, but it's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. That's how things go. So we're gonna jump from a rye whiskey to a wheated bourbon, something that has no rye in it. And hot off the presses coming from Heaven Hill, this is the Larceny Barrel Proof C922. It's the last edition of Larceny Barrel Proof from this year. Nothing. Oh, well, whatever. Happy I tasted it before you. That's what I'm here for, I guess. I review things. But the Larceny is 126.6 proof. This is the highest proof of all of the Larceny barrel proofs from this year. Sitting at their pretty standard $65 a bottle. And this is supposed to be a blend of 6 to 8 year old bourbons from Heaven Hill, of course. I've said it a bunch on the podcast. I don't know if I've really talked about it too much here on live streams. So if you've kind of been missing one or the other, I'll just repeat it. But B522 Larceny Barrel Proof, easily the best batch of Larceny Barrel Proof, and definitely my favorite batch of Larceny Barrel Proof this year. Between all of the Larceny and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batches, I think I might be leaning towards B522 being my favorite that's come out this year. That's kind of where I'm I'm sitting with it. So we're going to find out how this compares. And you know what? I could just sit right here and do a side-by-side because why not? Stepping down a little bit to the B522. 123.8 proof. What's up, Perry? What's up with you, Amos? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Moose Lounge podcast. I was on an episode of the Moose Lounge podcast last week. Let's go and check that out. Tony Bag of Donuts with the $10 Snuffy Chat. See if it'll show up here on the screen. For the maker samples from November. We will get those to you, buddy. I'm sorry. But appreciate you, man. Clifton's got one of those coming in the morning. Nice. Bob Ritter said it out. 11 cheers to all. I'll be back next week. See you next week. Dad? Everybody say bye, Papa Ritter. What's the best daily drinker between 100 and 110 proof? I'm about to move up from the Four Roses single barrel. You say you can't find Weller 107, but you do have rare breed. I would go with the rare breed for sure. But I like Clifton's suggestion of Maker's Mark cast strength. I never saw a B of Larceny or EC this year. I mean, I'm not really seeing them on the shelf either. Here at the very least, but when I was in Florida towards the end of July, is that what it was? Yeah, I did find a bottle of the B522 Larceny while I was down there. Used to go with Baker's. It's such a sad thing that particular bottling is not around anymore. I release you from your sample bond as I genuinely don't even remember what they were. Got no clue, man. Cannot remember it all, but I can always go back and look. It's not like I don't have a retainer basically of all that information. Rare breed is a great, reliable bottle. Amen to that. Ooh, old Overholt 114 is in fact a sleeper bottle. Jeff says only seen Larceny Barrel Proofs at Kroger in Kentucky. That's how it goes. But I'm saying if you see the B522, pick it up. Grab yourself a dadgum bottle. I must be speaking louder than normal. My throat was starting to get a little rough. All right, we're going to start with the B522, and then we're going to go into the C922 just to see how I feel. See if the B522 has been dethroned or if I'm going to stick with my favorite. Again, my brain's just like... Mm. A lot of caramel, a lot of tobacco. A little bit of green tea just on the very back of the nose of the B522. Little kind of like subtle hints of chocolate. Some honeysuckle on there as well. A little bit of ethanol too. I think the ethanol is kind of hurting the nose on that one. But not a bad nose by any means. Well, let's see if the C922 holds up. Huh? It's a darker nose. It's almost more complete. Like it's just a little bit rounder than the B. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble. If this goes the way I think it is, I'm going to be in trouble. But so far, I got to give the nose to C. Definitely, for sure. Wow, that's a great nose. It's got a lot of what was going on in the B, but there's brown sugar. There's a really nice the barrel influence is so much more apparent on the C than it is the B. This New Riff mashup is a hitter. It's the meetup pick, both Chad and Sarah, and a Benny's pick. Tony, that sounds freaking awesome. All right, I'm going to take a sip of the B, then I'm going to move on to the C, see what happens. It's got this savoriness to it that I just freaking love. Oddly enough, for a wheated bourbon, it's got a savoriness to it, for sure. Have I forgotten how to function? A lot of brown sugar, freshly baked bread, too. Towards some of the darker notes, maybe a little bit of nuttiness. Not overly so, but there is a slight nuttiness that kind of pops up through there. But good stuff, man. Such a great bottle. All right. C922. Larceny Barrel Proof. You know, I would have trouble saying that these came from the same distillery, much less from the same mash bill. They are such vastly different expressions of larceny. Honestly, this starts the C starts drinking a little bit more into the kind of limited edition territory. And it's drier. Like it's got more of a dryness to it than the B does, which I don't hate. I like. I enjoy that quite a bit. And all the flavor just like stays up in your gums. I will say kind of on the back end of everything. Goodness. On the back end, it starts going, I start to get a little bit more of the grain from the product itself. But I think it just hits up front. It's so good. I think the finish might be the weakest part of this. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's a very quick finish. Do with that what you will. Yeah, the finish itself is pretty quick, but so much of what you're getting on the upper and mid palate just stays locked into your gums, right around your teeth. I don't know. I think I think between the two, I have to give it to the B. The C is really good. It's really, really good, and I would definitely pick up a bottle if I saw one in person. But I think that the B is just overall a better, more well composed bourbon. Oh, and like there's the finish too. Yeah. No question. No question that it's the B. Take my headphones off. I do this like every week where I'm like, I got to be able to hear the music and everything. I mean, it's playing. I know it's playing, and I know how to get on the mic. So I could just, you could see my ears. The big. I got really big ears. Also, my ears were starting to sweat. So actually, maybe I'll put the. I like hearing the music too. So, quick nose palette finish price so I can get to the Barrell Dovetail gray label before we wrap things up here. Nose. Gotta go back for it. Nose is a 3. Big headphone. All right. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what they say about big ears. Nose is a 3. I've still got enough of the palate to where I'm like, I know exactly what's going on here. Palate's a 3.5. Really, really good stuff. Finish, so light and so quick. 2. But the price at $65 and struggling, I mean, like the main competitor for this, I think, in the market would have to be Maker's cask strength or the 46 cask strength. And those usually fall around $45. With this one being at 65, I can see people wanting to reach for something else before this one, especially if it's on the shelf sitting right next to another product. But I don't hate it. I think that it's really quite a good price. So I'm gonna throw it a little 3.5. Yeah. So 12.5 out of 20. Pretty good score. I mean, this is definitely a recommend for me. If you see it, grab a bottle of it. No reason not to at this point. I think that Larceny is finally figuring out its footing with these barrel proof expressions. And I think that this is just further proof, no pun intended, that they're on the right track. So it's just nice to see, man. Love to see it, as the kids say. I don't know why I did that when I threw the two of them together. It's because my brain no worky. Proof positive that my brain doesn't work. Okay. There we go. All right. Barrell Craft Spirits Dovetail. Whiskey finished in rum, port, and Dun Vineyard Cabernet barrels. 131.54 proof. Thank you to Barrell for sending this bottle to me. Nice, cute little sample bottle. Love these. 100 mils. And if I am not mistaken, this is about $200 a bottle. Oh, 250. Okay. Yeah. So definitely on the ultra premium side. Barrell still makes good stuff, but that's a lot of money that people would have to drop. Thank you, David, for putting that in the chat too. I've never liked the Larceny Barrel Proof yet. Today I chose it over the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof at Heaven Hill. If the new batches taste like that one, I'm back in. Gray is 250, gold is 500. There you go. Easy way to remember it. Woo! Ethanol. Get you some. This is plenty of it. So. It's so weird. Such a strange nose. I don't dislike it by any means. But it is differente. For sure. It's got a lot of like sea salt around the nose, oddly enough. Mm. Oh, that is so drinkable. It's hot. I mean, it is 131 proof, but it is drinkable. I mean, people, I can see this being pretty well liked by a vast majority of folks. Finish is a little subtle, but it's still there. It's still just kind of a little continuation of everything that's going on with the palate. Mm. Right up front is where you get a lot of the port. It's funny because, and it's not in the exact order that's on the label, but throughout the palate it goes port, rum, and then the Cabernet barrels. And it's really good. I mean, it better be for $250, but it is so tasty. It'd be a fun one to kind of bring out for people in a blind tasting. I think that this could really surprise people with how good this is. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Nose, palate, finish, and price. Because I'm at my limit. I've hit my hour. And there's other streams going on too, so I don't want to go too far over time. Nose, not my favorite. I think the nose is my least favorite part, just because it's a little more subtle. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the nose. It's just not as prominent as I would like for it to be. 2 on the nose. Palate, I love. So much going on. Honestly, it's a 4. I really, really enjoy the palate. Finish, like I said, is a little bit more subtle, but it is just kind of this nice ease out of the out of the palate. 3 price, unfortunately, I know $250 is a lot, but you can see that there's a lot of craft and a lot of love and a lot of intentionality that goes into the making of this whiskey. If you have the money for it, I would definitely drop for this bottle. But if not, there's plenty of other things on the market that you can pick up that is within a more affordable budget. But everything that's gone into this, 3 on the price, 3.5 on the price. Not bad. Not bad at all for everything that's happening with this. So that's a total of 12.5 out of 20. So there you go. And that does it. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you guys watching every week, subscribing to the podcast. Leave a like if you haven't already. Leave a comment too down below. There's so many ways to support the show. Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast for as little as $1 a month. $5 a month gets you bonus content. But all that good stuff is in the description below. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for all your support during Big Ass August. We've had so much fun cranking out this bonus content for you guys, and it's just been goofy fun. So, in just an hour, I'll be over on Clifton's stream with Steven. We're gonna be tasting through some samples, and I think that does it. See you guys next week. See you next week for another episode of Poor Guesses. That does it, though. See y'all next week. Thanks for being here. I'm Perry. This is TIMBP Live. See you real soon. Bye.